And I'm going to mute all you guys out just for background noise. But as you guys know, you can unmute at any time when you want to talk or ask questions. Let me change my little speaker view here so that the recording goes off. All right, I did it. You guys, I miss you so much. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like going freaking crazy. Although I'm not gonna also sugarcoat it. I have been working in pockets because you know me. I love what I do. Tell me to not do what I love what I do and go relax. It would be the opposite, right? And so I manifested some rainy weather, which canceled the plans, and today's been just such a great day. And we have 9 more days left. And I cannot wait to step foot on that Alaska cruise. It's just like this dream come true. And my phone is full. My storage is full. I've got, just so you guys want to know, it takes 50,000 videos to fill up a new iPhone. In case you're curious, that's what it takes. So I'm in the process of deleting all kinds of old videos and stuff to clear space. And Jim's like, "No, I'm not buying you a bigger iPhone because you're just going to fill that up and you're never going to delete any pictures." And no, I'm not going to give you a thumb drive so you can just put it on there and it gets stuck in a drawer and it never gets taken care of. You're going to learn how to delete pictures. I'm like, "But I do." He's like, "Well, delete more." So we all have our problems. And I want to open up today. You guys all know who Muna is. And I asked her permission if I could share this because she's asking for prayer. Suzanne, this is going to get you, a couple of you, it's going to get you. Her 22-year-old son took a really bad fall, shattered his pelvis and his spleen, emergency surgery, can't walk for a while. And so she's asking you guys, if you will please, for those of you who pray, to send her prayers, put her on your prayer list. And for those of you that are energy juju people, send your good vibes. Okay. So passing that along as our family stays in support of each other, right? Okay. Awesome. Here comes Eric. Okay, you guys. So I have been watching playbacks and keeping an eye on things, and I'm not doing a lot of commenting because when I comment, it brings on a ton more comments. So I'm just watching from afar, and I haven't had time to go comment on all the posts, and I've had so much feedback. I haven't even been making posts. I've only been doing stories. I literally have not made one post with any of the pictures or videos from any of our trips or anything. Couple reasons. Takes a lot of time to do that. And second, I just can't bring on any more commenting right now because I am so far behind. So for those of you that have made posts and you've tagged me, trust me, I see them and I will make my way through them, I promise you. It's all the timing. I'm following the instructions of being present in the moments and taking in what we do, why we do what we do, right? And I just want you guys to know, at every waterfall and every stream of water and at every beautiful valley I see, I've got covered, I got mogs. I sit in silence and I just pray for you guys and I manifest for you guys because this is what you're fighting it for. You may not want my life. Some people have, the people we're staying with, our friends that we're staying with, they've never been out of the country. They have no desire to leave the country. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to live my life. You don't have to be crazy like us. But what is it that you want? That's what you're doing it for. Okay. So I just want you guys to know I do that every day and I will continue to do that every day because there's some of you, for those of you that went to conference and we heard the talk on being unconsciously aware and then consciously aware. And I made a post this morning about that topic, first post I've made in probably a month. And I talked about why we do this, right? But there are people out there who are unconsciously aware that they're on the path. And then there's the ones that are consciously aware that they're on the path, right? And that just really hit me at conference when he went through the unconsciously aware and then the consciously aware. And so for those of you that, are in this, but you're not consciously aware that this is going to take you to the life of your dreams, That's why you show up, right? To grab that one day energy and frequency and that spark that goes off that's going to send you from unconsciously aware to where all the rest of the people are, where they're consciously aware and it's their priority every day to get their non-negotiables done because they know where it's going to lead you. And then you come back to people like Muna, whose son just had this tragic accident. And I was texting with her. I said, Muna, you've heard me say it a million times. It takes an episode or an incident to change our life. And you now have a new why. And she, of course, you know how Muna talks, so I'm not going to repeat what she said, but yes, she said it all with all the words because she realizes it. She has a new why. And so now I have a special guest for you guys, and I want to tell you the story. So I talked to you guys about this a lot, about we have to visualize and manifest who we want to attract into our business. And many of you read the prayer that Twyla wrote that was so beautiful, where she wrote who she wants to attract into her business and what type of people will come to her and what type of business she will build. And it was just so beautiful. And Sylvia Castillo as well. Many of you read Sylvia's prayer that she reads about her day and her life, you know, and I do the same thing. And for those of you that have been in my life for decades now, you know that I do this every morning and I speak to it and I believe it and I visualize it. And then all of a sudden the pings go off, right? And that's what happened yesterday. I think got a message from a friend in business. We weren't close friends. Now, as you guys all know, we start as friends in business and then we become lifetime friends, right? So that's the stage that has now next happened. I get a message from a friend in a previous business that I've met years ago that's followed ever since and said, I want information on your new product. And I said, okay. And then she says, I want to know if the comp plan has changed. All right, here's your information. You guys, I just went into my app and I did what we do. I sent the link. That's it. And then I sent the comp plan link, right? And then we had a Zoom today. And oh my gosh, you never know who your friends are. And I said to her when she was talking to me, I said, I wish I had hit the record button. And then I said, will you come on the team call today and share your story? Because this is what people here need to hear right now. Okay, so she agreed to come on, and I'm so excited. So, Deb, can you unmute?
Sure, I think I
Yay!
did.
I
Yay!
am
Technology
so
sure did.
grateful that, you know, God works, God is all in the mix and the universe and all the things that bring the alignments together. And if you could just, I want you to share, you know, it all started out with, I'm 75 years old and nobody would ever even know it. If you would share your story, your background, why you're so excited. Now, remember, you've known for 40 years. Everybody that's on this call is just learning. So speak to them with knowledge as well because we don't know what you know.
And that's good. The best advice I can give you is don't learn. I'll save you a lot of trouble. Don't learn. You know, as I was coming here, I said, oh, damn, I know what's going to happen. First thing is, people's going to ask me all the questions about cancer and all the questions about this and that and this, because, you know, if you've now been around glyconutrients, I don't know if they refer to them that as a conference, but you've certainly been
I
around.
want to interrupt to tee something up.
Mhm.
You've been taking the product for how long?
Well, I was going to get into
Oh,
that.
okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to shut up and let you talk. Okay.
Well, you know, this is part of what happened, you know, early on when we started taking the product. Because when you learn about the product, when you start hearing about the product and, you know, and you realize how profound the product is. I mean, that's what's electrical about this, that, you know, how profound it is. The extremes you go to talk to people about it can be scary. Now, for those of your guests who were here and I see you smiling, when I called Darlene, well, first she said, well, would you like me to send you the short video or the long video? And oh, I said, "Hey, don't send me any video. I don't need a video." So she got on the phone and I said, basically, I've been taking the product for 35 years. And that's when her mouth hit the floor. And I mean, literally, I knew the product was coming to your company. About 6 months ago, I was contacted by someone and they said, our product, even though I haven't, been with the company for a lot of years, that, initially, basically, there's only two companies on the planet now where you can get this product. That's basically what it is. That's what you've got your hands on. Used to be only one company on the planet where you could get it. I worked for that company. I went to work for that company 35 years ago because I'm a firm believer in working for companies that are unique and nobody else has their product. That's why I went into my second company, the one where I met Darla. It was unique. Nobody had that product. I'm full circle here because you had Fix and I knew you had Fix, but there's some other drops out there. I got friends doing drops. You don't want to lose friends over drops. But when I saw you had Ace Manning, when I saw, because not only is this product profound, this product guarantees your company's going to be around for a while. Because the company who originated it has been around for 40 years. And you don't hear about it, you don't know about it because network marketers weren't attracted to it because it was so highly technical, because it was, this technology, which you're looking at now, which is extremely groundbreaking. Can you imagine trying to represent it 35 years ago? Heck, I was the first person to represent aromatherapy in 1990 when I got involved in direct sales. I used to carry foot tubs to women's homes and give them foot baths with aromatherapy, but no one could understand why it was the opportunity of a lifetime. What about dragging foot tubs around sounded like an opportunity for women? You know? But no one knew what aromatherapy was then, and it was like, oh my God, they smelled it and they had to buy it. So, I sold a fortune of it. And then I went into jewelry home parties, and I hate jewelry. But guess what? Women were born believing they deserve jewelry. So I throw it in the middle of a table, and guess what? They'd buy all the jewelry. And then I came into my nutrition product, which, at the time I was perimenopausal. We didn't have a word for it back then. I was a mess. Couldn't understand when my body was, our body turns on us every 7 years. There's a new problem we have to fix. But this one was what we call perimenopause now, was what I was going through. And someone said to me, I've heard about this product. And the first product I ever took, never took a nutritional product in my life, didn't believe in them. First product I took, and that was that. I've been on it for 35 years. I've never gone off it, which doesn't allow me to sell other people's products because it's really hard for me to go to people and say, oh, this is a great product when I know that I'm taking something else. So it's really hard for me to say, I'm losing weight, not because I'm on a weight loss product, but when your cells are communicating and when your body is working at optimal health, it just automatically loses weight. That's what it does. It only fights you when the cells aren't communicating. And I don't know if they showed the example of, basic communication of the cells is feed me, um, eat me. There's several communicating words that the cells have. And if your body doesn't recognize them, it will turn on itself. And that's what the ACE mannan and the glyconutrients does. It gives the cells those glyconutrients it needs to communicate back that, yeah, hey, I am you. Don't attack me. Take care of me. So did I give kind of like a
Yes.
education
And
in the product?
I know you're not allowed, this is a private call. This is not a corporate call
Mhm.
or anything like that. So talk, you were sharing about, the changes in testimonies and the things that you've personally witnessed throughout all the
Well,
years.
35 years ago, people with cancer were just came in droves because the stories about cancer remission. Ben Carson, I think you all have heard of Dr. Ben Carson. He was not a representative, but he was a spokesperson for the company back in the early days because he had prostate cancer. And he was introduced to the glyconutrients when he had prostate cancer. And he truly believed that they had an impact on his recovery during that time. But of course, when someone like him steps up and says something like that, his life became a holy hell. Everybody, had him, they call his office and they track him down. But, between you and I, these are the stories that fueled us when we first got started. If you go to, first of all, no one in Manitech's ever going to die. I mean, it's like, no, it's true. It is true. Go to a convention sometime. Just no one in that company that takes that product's ever going to die, and they know it. And if they do, they're damn good looking when they do, because it's just a room full of and extremely healthy people because the product is so incredible. It's just incredibly miraculous.
I love
Now
it.
you know what it is, right? You know it's aloe vera.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know the story of how it's the only functional component of aloe vera and how it was extracted in the early days. And because in the early days we had it, and then it got taken away from us because the laboratory who we were under contract with to be able to be the only company to represent it pulled out on us, or not pulled out on us, but they canceled it was like a 5-year contract or something. So until the patent expired, which was like another 15 years down the road, nobody could actually represent Ace Manning. But I mean, I've got fibro. It's probably the only thing that saved my life with fibro. There isn't an autoimmune disease on the planet because, see, it's an immune system modulator. So it's not like, okay, so you have an underactive immune system and you take it, your immune system will pick up. If you have an overactive immune system and you take it, your immune system will tone down. So, like in the early days, we'd have people who were like taking insulin and they started taking it, and all of a sudden their insulin levels went wacky. And it was because the glyconutrients, the ACE mannan, caused the insulin to be more active, and the body didn't need it because it was also supplying the body with what it needed. And so they had to change people's insulin's level. And some people went off insulin and onto oral medications back in the day. And all that stuff is still happening. I just haven't been around the company to hear any of the stories, for years. And of course, a lot of the stories are like underground now. You have to, be in groups like this where, it's safe to talk about it because it was a tough time back then. It's still a tough time, but back then it was like really archaic. And
Yeah.
there were no rules. It was just, it was like when I first went on the internet and canned spam wasn't there yet.
Yep, yep, I get it. And if you could share with everyone what you were talking to as I'm calling it something different than you called it, the initial start. You called
It's
it
called
the
a cleansing crisis is
cleansing
probably the
crisis.
best. There's a very technical word for it if you do cleansing crisis. It's like Hofmeister or something. But at any rate, basically, whenever you put something like this, I mean, one of the communications is we used to talk about it's like a dysfunctional family. So you got a dysfunctional family that isn't communicating. You get them communicating again. Sometimes their communication is not going to be real good because it's improper. It's not correct. They don't know their communication style. So when you put a product like this into your system, your body is going to react accordingly and start cleaning itself out, and it's going to mimic whatever it is that you're struggling with. So say for instance you have arthritis. And let's say I know people who specifically have arthritis like in one knee. It's like this is where they have it. If you were to take this product, you might notice that that knee would flare up for several weeks. And you'd be real concerned about it. You might even be inclined to call your doctor because it's like really weird. But you'll actually notice sometimes that it's a unique type of pain. It's a little bit different. And what it is your body mimicking the pain of the arthritis as it's clearing it up. Now, another interesting thing, and these are like cool things that we learned in the early days that can be very, very helpful, is, and this would be helpful to a lot of people in nutrition in general. They just don't know it because they don't teach it anymore. But just because you take a product for your arthritis with Ace Mannan or with this particular product, doesn't mean it's going to go in and work on your arthritis. It's going to work on your body's most compromised system. You might not even know that you have. We've heard cases of people who had a tumor and didn't know it because the Ace Mannan went in and repaired the tumor because it's got anti-tumor characteristics, by the way, you can look that up. It repaired the tumor way before it worked on the arthritis because the body needed the tumor repaired, it didn't need the arthritis repaired. But if you're sitting around waiting for the arthritis to be repaired, you could be saying, oh, gee, this isn't working. And that's not actually true. It takes 4 months for a cell to completely regenerate itself. And if it's a bad cell, it will regenerate as a bad cell. If it's a good cell, it will regenerate as a good cell. So you take VeraCell and you take it consistently for 4 months. At the end of that 4 month period, come back and talk to me. You're going to be a completely different person because your cells will have completely regenerated one time and they will have regenerated as healthy cells, and you'll be a new person.
I love it. I love it. And you were also talking about how when you got started, you had a rough start when you started
I
it
had a
35
flu
years
for
ago.
like almost 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, flu-like symptoms are basic. Have any of you gone on like a 48-hour fast, or you start on a sugar-free diet and you go through that fourth day where everybody like feels crappy? It's like flu-like symptoms. Well, it's just like that, except it can last quite a bit longer. It can last a week. You can last. I had a gentleman take a product and his whole body broke out into rashes from head to toe. But he wasn't taking the fact that it was a cleansing crisis. He was taking it as a fact that my product was bad. And what was really happening is this man was an asthmatic and he had been inhaling steroids since he was a child. Can you imagine the toxins in his cells and a high-powered product like this going in and going whoop? It's just because when it comes out of the cells, it has to go somewhere. So it goes into the bloodstream and then ultimately comes out through your skin, through your, congestion, through your side. I mean, and with God's luck, you're going to notice changes all the time. I'll be like noticing even now at my age, a twitch coming from somewhere in my body after I restarted on a product or I amped up on a product and I'll go, whoops, it's working. So this product also makes you hyper aware of your body, extremely hyper aware. Because when your cells are communicating, you'd be surprised. Your brain is getting the message and it hears the messages a whole lot better because they're communicating effectively.
Well, for you being 75, you're a great poster child for it because you don't appear to be 75.
Well, it's funny, but I tell people, I planned it that way. When I started on these products at 43 and I realized what I had my hands on, and nobody wanted to talk to me. They'd say, what do you know? You're not a nurse, you're a marketer, you're making money on us. Being a network marketer has not been fun all the entire years of my life. But the long and the short of it is, then I turned about 50, 51, and I lost a lot of members of my family. I always projected or always thought that I would outlive all my family members. I'm the oldest, and I still thought I'd outlive them, and that's proving to be true. But in my 50s and middle 50s, they started coming to the funerals, and they'd walk through the funeral line and say, what's that product you're taking again? We're all getting old, but you're not. And I didn't get old. I said, I'm not telling anyone what I'm taking now. I don't care. You can stay old. I don't rep it. I stopped repping it when I went into this company where I met Dollar 20 years ago. Never sold a bottle of it. I have sold a couple of them, and I basically told people where they can go and log on and get it from someone, without any hassle of joining the company, at least for them to try it. And so I told Dollar what intrigued me about all of this was I get to rep a product that I've been actually already taking for 35 years. And I get to say to my friends, hey guys, for years you've asked me, you see me, I brought my friend, I invited my friend Pam to the call. I told you I was going to invite my friend
Yeah,
Pam. And Pam, can I unmute you? Or can you unmute
you can
you?
unmute.
Every time she sees me. Now I've known her for, okay, so I can't unmute her. I don't know how to unmute her.
She can
Pam
unmute
Manis.
herself.
Okay, you can unmute, you can. So this is a great story because network marketing is and can be a beautiful, beautiful thing. And my first company, I told you I sold jewelry. And I sold it in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm from Rhode Island. So I was the only Yankee with the company, and they had this whole organization of Southern women. And then there was more. And it was just like, it was the best time of my life. But I was number one in the company. I told you in Rhode Island, women believe they deserve jewelry. I throw it on the table, they'd buy it. And then this woman, Pam, showed up and she knocked me off my throne. I mean, she made mincemeat out of me. And women just loved her. I mean, still do. She went on to build to $1 million organization in Avon. And so we've known one another now for like 35 years. So when I left that jewelry company was when I joined the company that had the glyconutrients. And every time Pam sees me, she says, I look younger than the last time I saw Pam. How good do I look? You gotta unmute yourself, honey. That little, can you see the red mute button? She can't. Dalek. Oh, there it is.
Hi, can you hear
Hi.
Hello.
can you
We
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, just to give you a little note about what happened today. I talked to Deb about 4 o'clock. Check. We called up. At, check. She said, "I've joined another direct sales company." Check. Will you join me at 6 o'clock on a call? Here I am. Deb's the kind of friend like you were talking about, Darla, that you meet in business and then before you know it, you're lifelong friends. And so Deb alluded to that. So yeah, she's when she speaks, I listen because she's a smart woman. She doesn't waste her time on anything that's not worthy of her voice. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. That's great. Well, we're glad to have you here. Now, does she look younger every time you see her?
Absolutely. She raises the bar on that for all of us.
That's awesome. Well, Deb, you're going to be a true blessing to the entire community with your knowledge and your experience of, having all this with the product already for 35 years. Um, does anyone on here have a question that you want to ask Deb?
I do. Can I ask her a
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Wendy. Hey, Deb.
I
Love,
went,
love, love your spirit. Totally
thank
can
you.
align to your vibration. But anyways, that frequency is here, girlfriend. I have a question for you. So when you're taking it, do you take it in a specific way? Because sometimes I take it on an empty stomach and I've read through the book. I just want to know how you've actually taken it for 35 years.
First of all, I'm a minimalist. So I never do anything the way I'm supposed to. And I've done it all wrong and still I'm healthy. I take it all at the same time, which I'm not supposed to. I never take the recommended amounts because I don't think that recommended amounts are just recommended. I have learned that the body will tell you what it needs. And I start with sometimes, because you have two choices. You can start it, and when you start going into a crisis, you can back off and find out what your level is, or you can start slow and find out what your level is. I think it's 2 scoops on the VeraCell, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 scoops per
Mhm.
day. Yeah, that's about right because I think it's 200 milligrams. I've been taking 500, which is 1 scoop per day. I've been taking for the last several years. So yeah, that's about right.
So when I started, I've been taking it now for however long since we left conference. How long have we been gone from conference, you guys? 2 weeks, maybe? Is it three? Has it been a month? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I've been taking it for a month, twice a day. I personally didn't have any negative of anything, nothing. But I have heard of some people who have had some negative. Like Denise, are you able to talk? I think Denise Romero had some negative. Um, are you able to talk, Denise?
Dolly, you were clean. I told you that. You've been on high level gut products. Your system was pretty clean. It's only going to do that to people who have really, really
Well,
severely.
Denise is
Yeah,
going through cancer actually and
and
chemotherapy
that's
and all that.
exactly who would
Yeah.
who would would have issues with it. Anyone who has that toxicity in their cells because it cleans out the cells, and when that toxicity leaves, it can sometimes not be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Darling,
you,
I'm experiencing the story that she was talking about with arthritis because remember the fix cleaned up my hands
yes.
like
Yeah.
that. And
Yes.
ever since I started the VeraCell this last, like I've been on it, what, 3 weeks too? These last 2 weeks, this thumb is humming and so is the wrist now and the elbow and
See?
it's all, but it's different than it was ever before. Before it was a pain. This, you just know that there's activity there and you just know that the body's doing something to it.
It's healing, baby. It's healing. Thank you for sharing that because that is the real magic of it. And knowing that when that light bulb goes off, oh, yeah, that pain does feel just a little bit different. And
Mhm.
because that's a big part of I have a friend who says to me, "You know your body better than anyone I have ever met in my entire life." And for me, it started when I quit drinking, 40 years ago. And you can't help but get to know yourself because you got nothing to numb yourself. And then when you go on a product like this that really gets your cells communicating, and you hear every little thing your body's telling you. You know the minute you put something in it, it's like, no, 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 no. That's not right. So. Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that, guys. That's good to hear that you're reacting to the product that way.
And she was also saying, Twyla, when I talked to her earlier, Deb was saying that she would tell everybody, you've got to commit to this for 4 months. This isn't
Absolutely.
something you can go into and think in a month you're going to have your cells completely healed.
And
I've
and
been muscle
letting them
testing
know that
6 months.
they owe that to themselves because a red blood cell takes 4 months to regenerate. So unless you let it completely regenerate for that 4 months, you're doing yourself a disservice, truly a disservice. So I always present it that way. And it's just like if you're going to spend this kind of money, be serious about what you're doing because this is like a really serious product. This
Yeah,
will make you feel so good.
that's great. Twyla, what were you saying about muscle testing?
I was testing muscle testing 6 months. Like when anybody that I've put on it, I said, you got to walk with me for 6 months.
That's good.
Yep.
That's great. Laura
Because I,
Lee,
Yes, I just wanted to share a little bit. Deb, oh my gosh, dear. Um, thank you for being here. This is so wonderful to hear some of the details. I'm super excited Darla was able to help get me the VeraCell for my husband, who has three autoimmune issues. Two of them are life-threatening. The third one, anyway, the end of February, he wanted to go to church. He went to church. We have a two-story house. He came home exhausted, went upstairs and didn't come down for 2 days. His body does not produce red blood cells anymore,
Oh.
unfortunately. So his blood level is extremely low. Anyway, long story short, 2 days and he's been on the fix. We got him off the cancer drugs because his body weight, I just skin and bones. And he's 5'11" and was always solid. Um, but anyway, we finally got the doctor to agree to take him off the cancer drugs and the prednisone. And I was happy about that because I'd been given him the fix and I said, okay, you have to do the fix twice a day. And as soon as we can get this VeraCell in you, as soon as we can get it. Anyway, 2 days after the VeraCell, he walked down the flight of stairs here with a cup of tea. Now, the man couldn't even walk down the stairs to the basement. He would text me. He came down with a cup of tea. And I was working online and I'm like, my goodness. The smile on his face,
Oh, it's so wonderful.
the glow, the skin color was so different. He was sitting there smiling. And he says, what's new? I said, my husband's feeling better. Anyway, long story short, I always call him a jock because he loves sports. He hasn't bowled in I don't know how long. He's able to go back bowling the last 2 weeks.
oh my
When
gosh,
it went,
Laura.
no, maybe it's only been a week and a half or so. But I said, are you sure? He said, I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to bowl or not. Now, the bowling sucked, but he felt so good. He wanted to go out.
Oh, Laura,
We just can't
Lee.
even wait. as now we're only doing the 2 dosages per day, but now last night something happened. His condition, it's a rare type of vasculitis that eats away at the lining of his veins and arteries. And it's damaged his kidneys. It was down to 11%. And at the best, it went up to 17. It's right at 15. I just checked his stats today. If he can hold himself, the doctor had been saying, I don't even know what day this is. I think Friday. He had a phone consult with the doctor. The doctor tried to talk him into going back on another sister cancer drug. And I said, could you leave that man alone? Give him a couple of months. Well, I'm happy that his kidney function hasn't gone back down into the single, below 10, I guess is how they look at it. In the single digits. But I really think the fix has been a big factor in that. I really do. We can't prove it, but anyway, Ed had to be the one to tell the doctor, no, I want to have a break from this. Now we checked his stats, and he does his stats every 2 weeks, his blood work and stuff. There's not really any significant difference on his stats, although he got a blood transfusion 4 weeks ago, and his blood is holding its own because it was down to 80, 81, and it's supposed to be 126 to 166 in Canada. I know the numbers vary different places. And if you don't, like my son said to me, my son trained nurse, he said, Mom, it's like this. When you're that exhausted, you either eat or you breathe. So he was dwindling down, like from Christmas to the end of February, he had lost another 20 pounds, and he was down to 171. I'd love to be I can't wait to be at 171 myself. But anyway, that was skin and bones for him. He's back eating more. Like the stats, as far as the medical is concerned, there's not much difference, but there's a huge difference in his ability to function.
How long has he been taking it for now?
Oh, just since the conference when it got sent
Oh,
out.
3 weeks. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I cannot wait for his 4-month story.
So it was really good to Deb to hear. Like I had said, I knew that it should be at least 3 months, and I wanted to put him on a double dose, like so that he took it 4 times a day. But I thought, well, because I know that sometimes when you load up on something so powerful, the detox could set in, and I was concerned about that, so I didn't put him on that.
Deb, what is
Um,
your feedback on that? On some
I'm just
I've
going to
heard
say
has
what they did in the early day. I was going to say when she told me his problem and he was taking 2 scoops, I said you could easily up his dosage of that. In the old days, I mean, when people came in with cancer, they were giving him like 5, 6, 7 scoops a day. They were, anything, because there is no number. Again, it's not like you can come in and say, take 3 and it's going to work. It's always been how your body's going to respond to it. So if he's responding that positively with no negative side effects, absolutely give him more.
yeah,
well,
and
it was
Give
and
him more.
interesting for
and
me. I just
Marley,
doing once.
we did hear that on a few of those testimonies on the Winner's Circle where
Yeah.
they talked about they gave this person 8, kind of like Fix, how some people did the two, 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 two.
Right. I did hear that, but I was concerned for him, to just in case he was into reactions. Now, the last 2 days, my blood pressure is gone through the roof. My head is spinning, and that's probably what's going on with me because my blood pressure is 168 over 108, and I can't even think hardly. It's hard to even get words out of me or to be coherent. So that reminded me of mine. I want to say one other benefit that has helped with this disease. For some reason, we don't understand it. He lies down. Well, if he was awake, he could go 2 or 3 hours without going to the washroom. When he lays down, every hour, hour and a half, he has to get up and go pee. It just runs through him constantly all night. Last night, he was only up twice. And for the first time in a year and a half, he slept almost 4 hours one stretch and 3.5 the other, right bang to bang. He went to the bathroom and back to bed. I went up twice this morning to check to see if he was still breathing.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Another
Mm.
thing too that, you made me, is it Laura Lee? You made me realize
Yes.
this as you were saying it. Yes, you can increase it. And not only that, it has a cumulative effect. So you know how when you take a drug, you take it and 24 hours later it leaves your system and you need to take it again, or you need to take it before that so you don't, lose the effect. This product has a cumulative effect. So that means like maybe like say it has a two day life. So you take it today. If you didn't take it till three tomorrow afternoon, after that 24-hour mark, it wouldn't stop working. It builds up. So
Yeah.
one of the funny things that happened to a lot of us in the early days of the company was they felt so good. I mean, when I say people felt good after 4 months, I mean, we put them on more than just the Ace Man, and we had a couple of other products we put them on too. But they felt so good. Some people thought they were getting healthy on their own. They stopped taking it, and it wasn't like the next day they'd wake up and not feel good, because they'd feel good for sometimes a couple of months, and then all of a sudden it'd be like hitting a brick wall. And they'd call and say, "Oh, I guess you really have to keep taking it. It's eventually going to get out of your system, and your symptoms will reverse. It's just like bad communication again. If your cells aren't communicating effectively, they're going to stop communicating, and all the systems are going to stop breaking down again. So, getting that good cellular communication going so the body can do its job. It's all about the body repairing and regenerating itself. And it can work miracles. Forget what the blood tests say, forget what the doctors say. If he's walking down the stairs and bowling again and he couldn't 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
He
that's
hasn't done
like
that
not
for
saying you lost
months.
weight when your pants don't fit you because the scale hasn't moved,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah. Yeah. Susie Nash. Susie.
There, I
Hello.
heard a video and it concerns me, but she was talking about Parkinson's. Do you have any history with Parkinson's?
The same thing holds true with everyone who goes on them. There's different stories, many, many different stories. Is across the board. Is there anything specifically with Parkinsonisms I can remember? No, I know there's a couple of stories of people with Lou Gehrig's disease that, were able to move a limb again, but that's a long shot from, what, again, when it comes to most illnesses, it's let the body do what it's supposed to do. Give it the chance to let it do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, Susie, did you hear the one of the lady who was the number one money earner talk about how her mother had Parkinson's and that it got her Parkinson's completely went away, even to the point where the doctor released her from being titled as Parkinson's?
Wow.
That's the one I heard.
Yeah, yeah. Mary.
Hi, I'm not driving.
Okay.
Um, I wanted to reiterate, did you say that when a person has diabetes, it sometimes makes their glucose levels elevate and go high? Because I was doing great with the Amulin and the fix, but after I started this, I started seeing my levels going up, and I thought, well, maybe it's emotional, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. And
Are you on insulin?
I'm not, but I'm on metformin and glipizide.
Okay, so you might not need as much of those. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So again, that's something when with there's certain people with certain illnesses that I used to say specifically to keep an eye on things with this product, because there were so many profound changes, and diabetes happened to be one of them. I mean, in the early days of the company, stories upon stories upon stories of people whose, glucose levels just completely switched and changed when they went on the product. So, but also that like for instance, okay, so there was a lot of issue in the early days of people who were taking antidepressants because when they took the glyconutrients, their mood started elevating. So the antidepressants were causing like some side effects, and the doctors were finding out they had to decrease the amount of antidepressants they were on, and they couldn't figure out why they would need to do that because nobody understood what glyconutrients were and why that was changing the number. So basically, things that are being treated by drugs by right now when you go on the glyconutrients or you go on the cell to cell communication, you find out those things aren't necessary anymore.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
This is awesome. Deb, I can't even tell you what a blessing and a gift you are. You can see in the chat so many people are grateful, and we're so excited to have you a part of the family. And we promise we're not going to send you messages, and don't send her messages, you guys. Okay, we're going to pivot. If anybody else has another quick question or not, then we're going to pivot to topic.
I have one quick question. So, Deb, just kind of to put a bow on this, I think what I heard you say is, and I know everybody's body is different. So at least average 4 months, we can either have this cleansing crisis where we're feeling crappy, because I've been on it for 3 weeks, like 2 huge scoops a day. So I don't know what that is, 3 or 4. And I haven't had the crisis. I've had a few things. But just as I'm thinking about, sharing this with people to educate them, they could go through a cleansing crisis where they really feel something, or they may not. 4 months minimum, and everybody's body is different. Things could get worse before they got better, but maybe not necessarily worse. If you're on a med, it just maybe need to be decreased. Correct? And the last thing I heard you say that I'm not clear on, when you said something about the good cells and the bad cells, I think you use different terminology than that. Does the ACE man teach our body if we have bad cells? Does it regenerate it into a good cell, or does it get rid of it? I'm just curious. And that was my last
Bad
thing.
cells go away. When you regenerate a cell, the old cell goes away, but it can regenerate either as a bad cell again, or it can regenerate as a good cell. And by taking the cleansing product that is cleaning out your cell, when it regenerates as a healthy cell versus as a bad cell. Does that make sense?
Yes, because I thought, well, crap, we don't want to regenerate the bad ones.
Exactly, which is why you want, and that's what we're doing by not having something like this. Now, don't ever tell anybody anything about the cleansing crisis. I'll send
Right.
over Dala the
Right.
actual name of it, because so many people don't have it. In an environment like this, where we were talking about things that you might notice, because we're all, marketing the product as well as taking the product. But that's not something, I would, because what happens when you tell someone something like that? They're waiting for
Yeah,
it.
they
God.
attract it. Yeah.
And they
Well,
have a
I
sneeze and
found
they
on
call you the next day and say, "Am I having it?" It's like, it's just take it. You're going to feel great, and just like, let people go out there and start feeling the energy that they're probably going to feel. And, if they feel a twitch in their knee, they're not going to notice it. But, if you have someone that's going on it because they have arthritis and they're taking it because they know they're taking it because they'd like to see some improvement in their arthritis, then it couldn't hurt to let them know. Sometimes with arthritis, sometimes the knee kicks up a little bit in the first couple of weeks, and you think it's but it's just cleaning out or something like that. Just for your own knowledge as you're selling it to people in passing. Just do this or do this, and then when they come back to you or they call you and say, such and such, so I heard about that, and it might be this, and so does that
I
make
just had
sense?
that a little bit a few times, like with Fix, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, my A1C is worse
Yeah.
or higher.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Same thing.
thank you so much. You're awesome. Love
You're
you
welcome. Thank you.
already.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. All right, you guys, we're going to pivot for the last couple minutes here. So I want to go over, everyone's learning the app. We're all embracing it right now. We're all going through the figuring it out stage. Even myself, you guys would be proud of me. I'm sending it out. I'm going through the same thing that you guys are. We are going to eventually get the onboarding system, our onboarding done through an ACE gym that you guys can all use. You don't have to create your own. It'll all be trained down. I'll be working on all that. And so I want to teach you how I onboarded Deb. Okay. I said, Deb, here's the link. Here's to sign up. I sent her the same process that we send to everybody on how to enroll. I saw she enrolled. I said, okay, here's the next step. And you guys, what I have done, if you go into your Google Doc and you look at the onboard or the welcome message, I have tweaked the welcome message a little bit. I'm going to show it to you. Can you guys see it? Someone give me a thumbs up. Yep. Okay, good. So here's what I tweaked, you guys. Okay, so it still says how to take fix as your first item. And then step 2 is no longer the scale. I took off the scale. It has MPG Plus, product information, doctor talks, testimonies located under the campfire tab. Now I've moved the MPG Plus up here to the top under the customer onboarding steps because I want them to get into the campfire so that they can start seeing, you know, the testimonies and the doctor talks and getting educated on product things, stuff like that. Okay. Then it tells them how to log in. Okay. Now the getting educated videos are right here under one category. Then I have their back office login. And now here is if you're here to build a business. It still has the Telegram link I've put for iPhone and Android, and then it directs them to join the group. I watched, I saw, I was paying close attention as she was going through the process and saw that she joined Telegram. I'm like, very good. Okay, she knows how to follow steps. And then I said, go through the onboarding steps on your MPG app. Okay, so that is, I said, all I want you to do is step 2, 5, and 6. Okay, because I wanted her to get that done before we got on this call. Number 2 is download the app. Okay. Number 5 is download and join Telegram. Number 6 is go through. And I told her, I said, it'll take you 10 minutes to go through the onboarding. Okay. So you no longer need to meet with somebody before they onboard. Do you guys get it? I sent her the welcome message. I said, do step 2, 5, and 6. Step 2 was to download the app. Step 5 was to join Telegram. Step 6 was to do the onboarding. See, I want people to go through and do their onboarding before I meet with them for their game plan. Now, why am I doing that? Because how fast they get through that onboarding tells me how serious they are. And they're not going to get my time till they're done going through the onboarding. And by them going through the onboarding, what is it that they just learned everything of how to do? Right? Do you guys see it? Super simplified. Super simplified. Does anybody have any questions? Do you guys see how any one of you could do that? No matter how long you've been in, you drop the welcome message. Tell them to do number 2, 5, and 6. Once they've gone through the onboarding steps, they've been taught how to do the business. They've started their list. They've heard, they've got inspired. They created their why, right? They've got their invite script there. Everything's already done for them.
Do you have a question?
Yes.
If you were to set up a gym, then would we know when they actually accessed anything in the gym?
Yes, because
Then
when I create a gym that has, say, the onboarding, the whole onboarding process, right? When I create that gym and I drop it down to you guys and say, okay, here's your gym, okay, that gym is connected to me, which means it's going, I have control over editing it and anything that's being changed inside of it, like the Google Doc. Same thing, right? When I change the Google Doc, you guys get the changes. Now you can take that gem link and create a gem of your own with that gem link that you're using to send to people so you can make sure that people are clicking on it. But here's the thing, Susie. It doesn't matter if you know if they're clicking on it or not. When somebody joins and you give them an assignment, the ball is in their court now.
Mhm.
They're in control of the next play, which is telling you how serious they really are. Right? Because we're not here to beg people, we're not here to convince people. We're here to work with the ones that we can tell that they want this. And the ones that go out and go do their onboarding and get that onboarding finished, taking 10 minutes, we will know that they're hungry.
Then, but if it's all in one place, it's easier for us to find everything.
Yeah, you'll have it all in one place.
Wonderful. Love that.
Yes, you'll have it all in one. Yeah, things are getting really simplified here. I'm super excited. Laura
I
Lee.
love it.
Yeah.
So I had a question about um I have an Android phone, so
Yeah.
I did the MPG Plus, but I had downloaded the ACE before. Should I delete the ACE
Oh, I'm
app?
really glad that you're bringing this up, Laura Lee. So you guys, if you have a paid ACE version, a paid ACE subscription, you can call it, you don't need it anymore. Everybody gets the same access for free. Now, I am going to keep my $20, not keep, I'm going to get the $20 ACE subscription intentionally for me because it comes with the Zoom Pro account with 1,000 seats for $20. So the only reason I'm getting ACE is so I can lower my ACE monthly bill and raise my status on Zoom to a bigger account.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine is the free version of ACE.
Yep.
I
Free
was paying
version.
$5 and then it went free. They
Yeah.
even reimbursed me the couple 2 or 3 months that I paid the $5. I wouldn't
Oh,
have.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
But because we're going as soon as we get, I've got MPG Plus, and I could only seem to do it on the computer, not on my
Because of
phone. I don't.
Androids. Didn't I hear somebody report that an Android that they were able to download yet? Not yet, Michelle. The
Yeah,
Android app, the Android Google Play Store, whatever, is any day. It's like
yeah. No, every
Monday.
day I check.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just wondered if I should get rid of the ACE app off the phone. But I didn't know about the $20 a month
For
for the
Zoom.
1,000.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't know about that. Thank you for sharing.
Yes. Michelle, first of all, Michelle, before you talk, I just want to say thank you so much for how much you have stepped up and just filled in my shoes in ways that I can't even do. Like, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Welcome. Um, Laura Lee, for those of you that are on Android, the toughest thing to get to wrap your brain around is what you see online on your computer is the same thing for the most part. It's just on your computer, it's wide. On your phone, it's squished, okay? But what you see when you do a Google web search, mpg.plus, what you see on your phone when you do that Google web search, that is exactly what your app is going to look like once the MPG Plus sign app is working through the Google Play Store.
Oh,
It's
that's good
it's
to know.
it's
So
out
it's
of
just
Ace.
like how I used to get to Ace. I used to get to how I created the thumbnail on my window was the same as using an app. That's great.
Yes, somebody's playing some audio. I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. Anyways, what the heck? Um, yes, and I created a thumbnail also, and I think I showed KT how to do that. You can create a thumbnail also very similar to that, but once the MPG plus sign plus app is ready in the Google Store, then we should be good to go up and running. I, for one, find for tracking purposes and other things behind the scene, I find it a lot easier to do things on the computer. Yes, it's easier to send in some respects from your phone, but it's because from your phone you can connect your contacts. That's another techie store, a little more techie, gets a little bit more techie if people are still kind of fuzzy on that. Murky waters, not completely understanding that. You can upload your contacts from your phone into the app, into the MPG Plus app. Or you can one by one put them in manually, or you can download them from a spreadsheet and upload them in from a spreadsheet into the app itself or into the mpg.plus on your computer. It's not too difficult to do. I do it all the time. It's fairly easy. The difficulty is if you don't have a phone number or you don't have an email, it may or may not upload correctly. And I'm the one of these beta testers that I'm not like this, but I know the ACE people. I met Jordan and I met several of the ACE people at conference, and they're like, okay, if anybody's going to break Android, it's Michelle. So they know me by Michelle. They know me by Cape Girardeau. They know me by Southeast Missouri. When I call and I say who I am, they know exactly who they're talking about, and they know I have credibility and I've looked at things as the best I can to figure it out.
We are
So
so
not to say
blessed to
I'm the
have
guru,
you on. We're so blessed to have you. You guys, we have so many incredibly resourceful people that add value as a whole community and team. It's just beautiful. I'm
and anyways, just to say that Darla, the reason why I first put my hand up, and you're very welcome. It's what I enjoy doing because I coined this probably way before way before I ever signed up for MPG, which I'm in a year, by the way, this past Sunday, yay. But I coined the phrase that I help the 50 plus community navigate tech confusion. It's what I do because if you don't slow down and you don't understand it, just like with the train, if you're not footing is not on the train enough, you're never going to get on the train. You're just going to be dragged along. And I hate that. I hate that feeling. That comes from years of moving around as a child and everything else as well. But anyways, the reason I initially put my hand up is you have on your check sheet, Darla, and I haven't really looked it up because I haven't been home much today. You just said the campfire. Well, the difference is you need to classify which campfire. If you mean GFL, which means Global Freedom League, because there's more than one campfires and they will grow eventually.
if
I
it's a
eventually see
if it's a customer logging in and not an ISR, and they click on the campfire, they'll see the tabs of the groups that they can join, right?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I'll play with that feature on the back end. I'll run it and I'll run through it and make sure I get the right thing. Thank you for catching that.
Because my understanding was Take Back Your Life, you have to be invited by by someone specific. So if Darla sent me her invite link for Campfire for Take Back Your Life Campfire, which is designed to be lots of testimonials, lots of stories from the doctors and other things as well. It's eventually where they're wanting to put stories. Think of Campfire, and I apologize for those of you that are new that don't know it yet. Think of Campfire as our own private rooted in wellness page.
Okay.
Is Take Back Your Life. Okay. Where Global Freedom League is how corporate communicates with all of us.
Yeah, the rep side, right?
Yes, is the rep side. That's the difference. Global Freedom League, you should be, or GFL, you should get right away when you sign up for your MPG Plus because that's what you're getting. Whether or not you get the Take Back Your Life, I'm not sure. My understanding is
I do know that if reps can join Take Back Your Life on their own because when they first launched Take Back Your Life, we all went in and clicked on it. We didn't have to invite. So I know but what I have to test is actually I'll test it with Deb. When Deb goes through it, I'll find out if she can click on it. That's what we'll do.
right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right. Because they were saying with Take Back Your Life, if you've got somebody that's interested, that you're wanting to put them into testimonials that we don't have to worry as much about compliantly saying things correctly because it's our own private community that not everybody in the world gets into. Take Back Your Life is that private community that you have to be invited to. So it's like I invited Darla into it. Well, if Darla signs up, technically Darla would be mine because I invited her into it as well.
Yes. Yep.
And it kind of keeps the integrity of the person that invited you to it first time, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But that's why I was saying on your paper, GFL is one campfire, or if you think about it as a Facebook group, whereas TBYL, Take Back Your Life, is another type of Facebook group,
Okay.
and it's the testimonials.
Okay. You guys, I know we're running over and a couple of you have your hands up and I want to stay and answer your questions. But if you have to hop off, I totally understand. So, Melissa.
So initially, when I downloaded the app, I imported just a few of my contacts. It allowed me to just pick different people. Now, when I go to import contacts, it doesn't allow me to import any contacts. It's
Okay, I had the same
stuck
glitch.
on.
I had the same
Okay.
glitch on my account, Melissa. The same thing happened to me. What you have to do is delete the app, reload the app. It'll reset that glitch.
Oh, okay.
And your contacts will
Okay.
still be in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
same
Thank
thing
you.
happened to me. Yeah.
And
When
Melissa, were you Android or do you Apple? Are you iPhone?
No, I'm on an iPhone.
Okay.
Wendy.
Hi, sorry. Hopefully this is a really quick fix. So I know you're looking on the Google Doc where there's the three dots. Can we put just your documents into a file? Because I'm not quite understanding that in Google Docs. Is that capability or no?
Okay, say it again. Can do what?
So like you have a different, like you have the like the welcome, whatever. What do you do in the follow-ups, whatever. So all of the documents that you've sent out to us in Google Docs, is there a way to take just our MPG files and put it into a separate folder, kind of like what we did with
Yeah.
Telegram, and we put the two at the top? Do you have a fast way to do that? Because I keep staring at this and trying to figure it out. And I know there's a three dot thing that you told us to pin it, but where do you pin that at?
So the pinning goes in Messenger. So you know how when you're in Messenger with someone, watch.
Okay.
Let me show you something. So let me find uh so watch. I'm gonna drop it right here. And then you click these three dots right here and you pin it, and it's always right here.
Oh, so you're pinning it in Messenger,
Yeah.
not necessarily pinning it in your docs.
No,
Because
no,
I was
no.
just saying, like in Google Docs, like we have all the documents, but if we open them recently, then they start to filter to the bottom. I was just wondering if there's a separate way to keep them in one folder
Well, here they
inside of
are.
Google
Here they
Docs.
all are right here on the dock.
Right, but the other ones, like just the separate documents that you have, it's okay. I can also maybe Google it and find the answer. I
Or
just thought maybe you had.
if you use Google Docs, do you have the Google Docs app?
I was doing it on my laptop, but yes, I do have the app.
So
Yes,
when
on
I'm
my phone
actually,
as well.
because you can actually, when you click on, if you have Google Docs, when you click on it, it opens it in Google Docs and then you can save them all in there.
Okay, I just didn't know if they could put them in one file folder. So that's all. Just trying to organize it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And when you figure out how to do it and make it simpler, please let me know, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Thanks,
Can you
everybody.
do that to your own messenger?
Say that again?
Like, can I do that to my own messenger?
Yes. Yes. You should have it already in your messenger, Laura Lee.
Well, I remember when I first started, I thought you said that, but then I could never find it looking for a pin.
Let me show you. Let me pull it up.
It might be near the top because you had just there it is.
Yeah, yours is not pinned.
No, I could never find it there, but I would go to the computer and do it for other people, but I didn't know how to do it for myself.
There you go. It's pinned.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else? Anything? Melissa, is your hand still up or do you have another question?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. All right, you guys, it was so great to see you guys. Deb, thank you again for all your blessings that you poured on us today. And you guys hold Muna in your thoughts and prayers for her son. And I love you guys so much. So listen, Leanne, I know you're watching the playback because Leanne's missing her first call today, and it's totally killing her because she knew the speaker coming on today, and she's like so bummed. Um, Leanne, thank you for all you've done. You've been incredible. I've had incredible feedback from how you've stepped up and filled my shoes. Now, you guys listen. I board the ship. We leave for the cruise on Friday. Leanne is driving Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the big rig with the trailer and all the stuff from Canada to Texas. She is only going to be available via Bluetooth on phone. She will not be able to be texting while she's driving. So we're going to need, that next layer team support. If you need anything, drop in the builder's call. Michelle, thank you. Cinda, Elaine, all you guys that have been hopping in and helping, thank you. Stay strong one more week, guys. Stay strong one more week. Because when I get back, I'm going to need a week off just so I can catch up. Love you guys.
Thanks.
Have fun, Darla.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
anniversary.
Thank you.
Bye.